Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, we're learning more about Samantha's Friends, a longtime nonprofit here on the Suncoast whose mission is to help those with service canines, among others. Hear how it all began and how they've been able to help so many in need. Plus, we introduce you to some of the old-timers here at the dens. These dogs have been with us right from the start. Why age is only a number, and how caring for them in their senior years is a gift. And later in the show, some advice to help make these hot summer months easy on your four-legged friends. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. We'd like to start this week's show highlighting a nonprofit that has done so much for so many in our community. Today I am so honored and pleased to be with a very, very dear friend. I'm going to let her tell her story, but her story with her daughter, Samantha, touched us a number of years ago. And she brings the word family and friends right to the forefront, just where it should be. Alice, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Marcia, and you've become a good friend.
You just came off of a wonderful fundraiser, and you mentioned 30 years. That in and of itself is miraculous. How did this get started?
Okay, well, 30 years ago, Samantha, my daughter, she was 15 years old, so that's telling her age. She won't like that. But she had a brain hemorrhage, and she was out of state, and didn't know whether she would live or die, and she wasn't expected to live. When she was a little bit herself again, when I say herself again, where she could speak and move, which was an accomplishment. She was a year in the hospital, 1 month in a coma. And so a stockbroker from New York read her story in the newspaper when she was graduating high school. And he had the same thing that she had. It's called an AVM, an arterial venous malformation. And he was 15 as well. And he decided to start a foundation. And he called it Samantha's Friends. But then 9/11 happened, and charities and monies went to other things. We had done that for a few years with him. And so he asked us if we would take it over. And Samantha came to me and asked me if I could take over this foundation, and I said, absolutely not. You know, I had a full-time job, and my husband had a full-time job, and we were caring for her as well. But then she was graduating from college, MCC at the time, and it was her birthday. And they were having an event out in LA for soap opera actors. So we decided we were going to go out there. I was going to treat her. We went out there and we talked about the foundation because we thought, well, how could we get people to come? We don't know anybody, and here we are handed this foundation. What do we do with it? So we decided soap opera actors and dogs. Who doesn't love both? So anyway, that's how it started. We spoke to a few soap opera actors. One of them called me and said, I'd like to become involved. And from then on, it just grew. We started with 2 soap opera actors, and now, as you know, we have 10 coming. And so let's go with organizations that need the money that we can provide, because it's not millions of dollars, but it helps.
It helps.
So that's how we decided to expand to service canines. We had Valor dogs, and then someone recommended Canines for Heroes, which are the dogs that the Navy SEALs use that were there. And then I heard about Dante's Den, and I thought, oh, this sounds like a great organization. And so that's when I contacted you, and I'm so happy that we created this partnership as well. And everyone absolutely loves the dogs. The actors, you see the actors get on the floor and they love just interacting with the canines.
Samantha's Friends is unusual to a certain extent. What is your true mission?
Okay, our mission, because of course Samantha's Friends is a 501c3, which is a charitable organization. Everyone is a volunteer that is at Samantha's Friends. And what we do, because of course Samantha's Friends, what are we going to do with the money? We have to pick organizations that can benefit the most from what we raise. And so we pick the worthwhile organizations we feel that really contribute most to the community.
And we are so very, very grateful at Dante's Den because, as you know, we are also a 501c3, but we are a private 501c3. So therefore, we don't get any donations from some higher up office, or we cannot get grants and that type of thing. And then here you come on this white steed. And you and Samantha make our life much happier, and the dogs more than appreciate what you do.
And that's why we do it.
You know, I know that you had a marvelous career in one of our large banking institutions.
Yes.
And then you decided to retire.
Yes.
And then you took over Samantha's Friends.
Yes.
Was the calling strictly for Samantha, or was there a calling to you also after you left your job?
I think first, to be honest, it was all for her. All for her, to give her a purpose in life, because she needed one. She needed a calling. She needed to be able to help other people, more so than she couldn't help herself. And then, of course, I got into it and loving it too. And, you know, I develop relationships with people. You the most out of everyone. So I have to say that.
You've had 30 years. Okay, we're going to go on.
Yes. In fact, someone said that to me the other day. Well, how long do you think you're going to do this? I said, well, probably until I die. So there it is. And you know, we always say, and you could see it with the camaraderie that is at the event, we call Samantha's Friends family. And so everyone there, they act like, they feel like they are family.
For more about this nonprofit and how you can become involved, check out samanthasfriends.org. Coming up after the break, a recap of our latest Top Dog event here at the Dens. So many came out to celebrate and support not just our dogs, but our miniature horse. That's next.
Looking to get away for a few days, but nervous to leave your furry friend? Leave your worries behind. At Dante's Den, we offer safe and secure boarding options for your dog or cat. We know your pet is part of the family, so we provide a comfortable environment with experienced caregivers who offer personalized attention. We have a fully equipped medical facility, spacious accommodations, daily activities like swimming and agility, and staff is on site 24/7. Log on to dantesden.org for reservations.
Welcome back. Now we'd like to highlight a few of our pups who are in their golden years here at Dante's Den. As most of us realize, growing old is a part of life, and for dogs, it's important to pay close attention to their needs, because they can't tell us when something is wrong, and sometimes they're good at hiding aches and pains. So we're careful to monitor all of our dogs.
My golden years at Dante's Den are filled with long, happy hour naps, food that makes me feel good on the inside and out, along with just enough engagement to make me ready for another nap. I'm a red-boned coonhound mix, and at 12 years old, I'm still a sweet southern gentleman. My history proves I'm eager to please and tend to follow the rules a bit better than some of my counterparts. But as the saying goes, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I'm thankful the caregivers here at Dante's accept me for who I am. They let me put my nose to the ground and fulfill my instinctive, endless need to sniff things out. They also make sure I get my sweaters when it's cold and plenty of blankets to nuzzle in for comfort. I'm proud to say at this age I'm pretty healthy, although I'm prone to ear infections. But Marcia makes sure I always have the medicine I need when I need it, so I'm not in pain. I like to tell my friends here at the dens, I'm not aging, I'm just becoming a classic.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. At least that's what my favorite humans always say. And they give me my daily prescription of love and hugs and kisses. My days at Dante's as a 14-year-old beagle mix are filled with time spent perusing the perimeter area looking for the daring lizard that may have made its way into dangerous territory. I may not have the same speed, but my nose still works just fine. I relish the divine biscuits they give me when it's time to head in. I can smell them a mile away. I first came to the dens back in 2016. I was adopted to a family a few months later, and life was okay, but my health was suffering. Luckily, I had the chance to come back. Upon return, I was severely overweight and both my ears were infected. It didn't take long for the staff here to fix me and get me back to a healthier lifestyle. I think it saved my life. One of the things I look forward to the most are my afternoon strolls. It's good exercise, and it gives me a chance to get some one-on-one attention from some of my favorite people.
Just like Annabelle, I recently celebrated my 14th birthday. I am growing old gracefully here at Dante's. The mutual understanding I have with the caregivers here makes my days calm, and the consistency affords me a life of wanting for nothing. I do have issues with arthritis that flare up, but thankfully I am on regular meds to keep it manageable. It's important I keep moving. I do lots of laps around the pool. As for swimming, no way. It ruins my hairstyle. As an Akita, I rather enjoy my boutique sessions from the girls here, with a good brush on special days. My most favorite treat is the chew stick, which helps with my teeth. I've heard someone say growing old is mandatory, but growing up is optional. And because of the attentiveness and consideration from the people here, I still have days where I feel young, and I enjoy just being a dog. It's the simple things that make life as a senior something I thrive at.
I am one of the younger old-timers at 11 years old, and I feel like I have a lot of life left to live. I arrived at Dante's Den all the way back in 2015. I came in with 2 puppies I had given birth to just before getting here. Thankfully, they were adopted and found forever couches to go to. As for me, I could never seem to find the right fit, and maybe that's because the care I get here suits me well. I tend to have issues getting along with other dogs, and of course, that's not my fault. I just know how to behave better than them. The good news for me is that Dante's is equipped to handle personalities like mine. I am prone to zoomies, and I am always given the time and the space to get them out of my system before settling down for a rest, snuggled up tight. A warm bed, a good walk, and lots of love. That's all a girl like me can ask for. Well, maybe a treat or two as well.
And now we'd like to say thank you to all who came out in support of Dante's Den Foundation this spring for Top Dog 2025. We had quite the turnout, all to benefit a barn raising for our miniature horse, Mischief. Last year's storms destroyed her barn, and the money raised through this event will help build her something new. And of course, the dogs here at the dens all benefit from an event like this, and it was so nice to have everyone out here to our campus in Mayaca again. Guests had the opportunity to see firsthand what the dens are like while enjoying some line dancing lessons. And many brought their own dogs to join in on the festivities. We had a great time meeting so many of you in our community. Plus, we had a surprise guest. Kay Rosaire from Big Cat Habitat stopped by to share her support. We were delighted. And as always, we thoroughly enjoyed our favorite MC, Mr. Bob Harrigan, ABC7's very own chief meteorologist, who of course did one of his very famous headstands to get the crowd going. This year's Best of Competitions also made quite an impact, and we're so proud of all of the dogs that participated in Top Dog 2025. Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, a look back at some of the inspirational interviews we've had this season. As our 12th year of Animal Outtakes comes to a close, it's tradition for our crew here to take a look back at some of the memorable people and animals that we met this season. As you may know, I created this show as a branch of Dante's Den Foundation, a way for me to share my mission, but also the mission of so many others across the state of Florida. People who do what they can in big ways and in small to help the lives of animals who need it the most. To be a voice for the animals who need someone to protect them, to defend them, and to give them a life that they deserve. I know that this is part of your conservation program. Could an individual own a sloth if they wished?
Yes, if they did the due diligence and they took the time to get the hours and earn the license and build the facility and go through all the work, and if they had the time. You know, that's the problem where you gotta, as true animal lovers, we have to be careful by judging people that want to have them as a pet, because some of those wonderful people that have them as pets have also ended up being the facility that helped to keep a species alive because they did such a wonderful job. So you got to be careful to say no one should ever have an exotic animal as a pet. Well, that's a hard thing to say because a hamster's an exotic animal. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A gecko's an exotic animal.
Yeah.
So I personally, I can't agree with that. I think that if they're wonderful people and they love animals and they're going to give them a great life, I think it's a wonderful thing.
I was born and raised in Florida, and I have noticed a massive change in development here. And you know, we used to see so much diversity in wildlife in general, not just in reptiles, but in wildlife. And unfortunately, a lot of that has changed. And due to development and habitat fragmentation, we're seeing a lot more animals being hit by cars. There's a lot of people who move here from other states that don't even know like what a gopher tortoise is, how they should act around our waterways and be aware of like gator awareness and everything. And a lot of people are just flat out scared. Some just are annoyed. And it's very frustrating as someone who has watched these animals this like try to survive and cohabitate with people, but people don't want to cohabitate with them. So it's so frustrating, and I've noticed that change, and every year our numbers go up.
I think our jobs are to keep people informed on nature, to get them nose to nose with nature. If you get someone to see and love and like have a moment in nature, an aha moment in nature, oh my gosh, it changes them. It makes them go from being like nature's out over there to no, nature is here. Nature is the cedar. Nature is that osprey we're gonna hopefully see. You know, that's what it comes down to.
It's great work, but it's also heavy work. I've always been passionate about working with aquariums. Even as a kid, I asked for my first saltwater aquarium when I was 4 years old for Christmas, and I've been working with saltwater aquariums ever since. But I see what's happening out on our reefs here in Florida, and you know, it's devastating. So seeing that and you know, knowing I can do something to help is the big thing for me.
We do not get paid for what we do. There is no check or nobody's saying how much was the fuel, let me write a check. It's coming from the donation side or people's personal time to make it happen.
Because it's already a privilege to be able to be a pilot, let alone fly an endangered species, and one, when it comes to the Kemp's Ridleys, is considered critically endangered. So to know that you've done some part in helping preserve this species, you know, it's a real feel-good mission.
All animals are deserving of a second chance. They're all deserving of love. And a lot of times I think that like stigma happens with animals in a shelter, that people think they're broken, or they're there because no one wants them, or they're bad, or they bite, or they're behavioral, but that's not the case at all. All of our animals are just as great as the next. They give you love and attention, and I think that like that's the biggest thing. Because people, you know, they think that animals here are shelters. I think not a lot of people, but some people have that association that like, oh, they're at a shelter because nobody wants them. But it's like, and I feel like when you adopt a shelter pet, I feel like they're even more like appreciative, right? Like they give you more love because they know what it's like to not have love, or to not have food, or to not have shelter.
Every living being is born with the right to be taken care of and happy, and that's what they want. They want to be loved, and you can see it in them. They know when you're taking care of them.
We'll be right back. So it's that time of the year, and you may be packing your bags and hitting the road, ready to explore somewhere new, or even head back to one of your favorite vacation spots for a little rest and relaxation. At Dante's Den Foundation in Mayaca, we do offer a safe and secure boarding option for your dog or cat. We have added new dens to accommodate the growing need here on the Suncoast. And we know it can be stressful anytime you have to leave your pet. So here's what we suggest when it comes to picking a boarding facility. Visit the potential site ahead of time. Watch how kennel techs and employees interact with the dogs. Trust your instincts. You'll want to make sure it's a safe location and that it smells clean and the temperature is always controlled. Make sure someone is on site 24 hours a day. You never know what could happen. Look to see if there's proper ventilation in the building. Find out what their emergency procedures are in the event of a fire or natural disaster. See if there are immunization requirements and whether flea and tick screenings are done upon arrival. Once you pick your place, make sure you provide a comprehensive list of the medications your pet may take and what allergies exist, if any. Another topic we often get asked about here at the dens is how to properly care for dogs in the heat of the summer. But we have to be so very careful to watch out for signs of heat stroke. It's a life-threatening emergency that's caused by prolonged exposure to hot or humid environments. This can happen if dogs are left in a car or outside in hot weather. All dogs are susceptible to heat stroke, no matter the breed. But the breeds with short muzzles may have a harder time because they cannot pant as efficiently to keep themselves cool. You will also want to watch overweight dogs, elderly dogs, and those with underlying conditions. So here are a few tips. Opt for the cooler times of day when you take them out for activity. Provide access to shady areas. Offer frequent water breaks. Avoid strenuous exercise. And never, ever, ever leave your dog in a car unattended. Cracking the windows is not an efficient way to keep them cool. Protect their paws by avoiding hot asphalt. Recommendations suggest that if you can't put your own hand on the pavement for 10 seconds, then it's probably too hot for your pup's paws. We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. We'll be back here again next week with even more animals and some educational and engaging encounters. Until then, thanks for watching.